What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the 2025 Hyundai Elantra N alongside the FL5 Honda Civic Type-R. Now I filmed this video previously with a dealership Elantra N. Obviously you can't quite rip on a brand new car, but now we have this Elantra N as a press car for the week. So let's truly check it out on the fun roads that I'm used to driving the Type-R on. See how these cars stack up. New for new, the Civic Type-R is going to be around $10,000 to $15,000 more expensive than the Elantra N. This car is $36,000. Even my car used, I paid 45 grand for it. So for 10 grand cheaper, are you going for the Elantra N? Let's see what this car has to offer. Is it basically the affordable Type-R? So moving on to the performance information. So the FL5 Civic Type-R is going to utilize a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This makes 315 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It is only front-wheel drive paired to a 6-speed manual transmission, and it does have a limited slip differential. 0 to 60 is going to be around 4.9 seconds. It also has a 12.4 gallon fuel tank, and you're looking at 22 in the city with 28 on the highway, and curb weight is just under 3,200 pounds. For the Hyundai Elantra N, this also features a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. This is also only front-wheel drive and will either have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic or a 6-speed manual transmission. Manual transmission cars 0 to 60 is just over 5 seconds. Automatics are just under 5 seconds. This also has a 12.4 gallon fuel tank with 21 in the city, 29 on the highway, and curb weight is around 3,300 pounds. Moving on to the exterior styling. So for the Honda Civic Type-R, this is based off the Civic hatchback. So it has that really nice liftback design. You're gonna see a lot of gloss black. We even have a functional heat extraction vent up on top. Really bold and aggressive front end with gloss black in the upper grille. Got your red Honda logo as well as Type-R, and a massive grille down below to cool down that intercooler. You have a pretty aggressive front splitter as well. Nice design on the headlights and a wider front fender to give it more of a wide body appearance. You get 4-piston Brembo brakes with a 14-inch rotor, nice satin black wheels, and then the overall side profile has a cool design with the liftback. And of course we have that massive rear wing giving it a stylish look. And then all of your logos in back with the diffuser down below, and then a triple exhaust tip right in the center. For the Elantra N, you got a pretty cool design for the LED headlights, some satin black throughout the front grille. You have your Hyundai logo blacked out, N badge on the far side, and then massive openings once again for the intercooler. Got some red trim, forward-facing parking sensors, sharp lines throughout it. This one gets 14.2-inch rotors with more of a standard brake caliper, more of that red trim throughout the entire side skirt, and really sharp lines throughout the side profile. This is based on just the standard Elantra, which is a normal sedan. You have the satin black on the wheels, and then more of a pedestal design on the spoiler. Cool look for the LED taillights, all blacked out badging, and then really razor sharp lines all throughout it. We have red accents throughout the rear diffuser with a massive set of dual exhausts. Nice looking design overall for the rear end with some sharp styles. And then once again contrasting with the Civic, a little bit more curvy design to it, of course. But nonetheless, I think for a sedan and a hot hatch, they both have a pretty sharp style. Moving on to the interior with the 2025 Hyundai Elantra N, has a pretty cool look overall. There's going to be Alcantara throughout the door panel with a little bit of soft touch as well as hard plastics. And then I really like these bucket style seats. More Alcantara, you have the light blue stitching, accents, and then the leather trim throughout it. Really nice single piece backs with that N badge. And then for the multimedia screen, very similar to what you're used to seeing on Hyundais, of course, navigation, Apple CarPlay, all that good stuff. Climate control can pop up. We also have a really cool menu for all of your performance information. You have your tach, your gear, different temperatures, more things like that. You can scroll over and adjust quite a lot from the engine, the steering, suspension, transmission tuning, of course, your differential. So pretty cool layout. For the gauge cluster, your typical Hyundai information is going to be in the center screen. You can go up and down, of course. And then when you scroll over, you're going to get more information as well as vitals that can pop up. So pretty nice touch to have that. And then when we tap any of our N buttons, you go into a full performance design with more information right in the center. For the dual clutch, we are going to get the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. You also have this icon right here for more performance. Manual transmission will have a nice 6-speed down below. You have physical controls, climate controls, wireless phone charging, then a nice grab handle right here with some plastic material. We have some piano black, park and brake, and then storage all throughout the center. So overall, definitely a cool place to be with some nice materials, some hard plastics, thin mirror up above, and then a sunroof up on the top. And then moving on to the FL5 Honda Civic Type-R. Once again, I do think this is a pretty nice interior. You're gonna get soft touch plastics all in the upper portion of the dash, and then you have this micro suede with contrast stitching for the door panel with ambient lighting. Now this car has even larger bucket seats with huge bolsters, bottom and back, finished in a pretty cool red micro suede. You have red seat belts as well. For the multimedia screen, once again, just your typical Honda stuff. I think this is a simple, easy screen to use, so really no complaints with either car there. And we're also gonna get a fun screen to monitor vitals within the car. You can configure this and see a lot of cool information. For the gauge cluster, you also have your typical Honda stuff. You can scroll on the right side, get a couple performance goodies, as well as some basic things within the car. And you can see those massive LED shift lights. When you go into different drive modes, you can also then get the cool one with the massive tack and all of your vitals. Leather wrap steering wheel with the contrast stitching, and then we have physical controls throughout the center, wireless phone charging, extra plugs, only manual, so you have this nice aluminum shift knob with the leather boot, and then we have an electronic park and brake, larger cup holders, and then the storage throughout the center. So very similar levels of interior quality, a little bit more soft touches on the upper portion of the Honda, however, but the Hyundai has the cooler materials on all of the seats with leather and Alcantara. So sitting into the backseat with the Hyundai Elantra N at 5'11", I do sit here pretty well with about maybe an inch of headroom. With the driver's seat at my height, I have really good knee room and foot room. There's gonna be 2 USB ports down below, no air vents, and then this can seat 3 people. We have the Alcantara in the door panels. The rest is kind of hard plastic, but the rear seats also have the Alcantara and leather trim all throughout it. And then now into the FL5 Civic Type-R. Now this is only a 4-seat car, so there's no center seat. However, you're gonna get cup holders right in the center. There are no USB ports and no air vents either. And then with the driver's seat, once again, at my height, still have plenty of legroom and foot room. The seat does feel a little bit larger, a little bit more cushion. Still gonna get just some plastic throughout the door panels and the micro suede. So you don't get also either the cool red seats back here, just basic generic fabric. You have red seat belts though. Headroom's about the same as well. So kind of 50-50 on back seat space. Both are plenty roomy enough. This might be a tad more comfortable, but you have nicer materials in the Hyundai. Moving on to the cargo space, the Elantra N is going to feature 14 cubic feet of cargo volume for this rear trunk. So overall, it is pretty decent for a small compact car. This also has a rear strut bar, as you can tell, so that is going to hinder some of your space, given that it is a fixed bar. The rear seats will fold down as one massive bench, as you can tell. So it still is a pretty practical, roomy car, just that bar is gonna hinder some of the space. For the Type-R, this has about 10 more cubic feet. This has 24 cubic feet of cargo volume in this massive liftback trunk. You also have this nice privacy cover, and these seats very easily, independently, can fold downwards to truly maximize. So this is obviously significantly more practical with a huge amount of cargo space all throughout it. So let's set off in the FL5 Civic Type-R, kind of get our bearings with what this car is like to drive. Let's go right into the R mode, all the performance, the stiffest steering, suspension, all the tuning and all that good stuff. So with this car, what I really like about it is it handles like it's on rails. These bucket seats are massive. You really sink into them. You feel like you're in a little go-kart, little race car. It is so cool to drive this car. The manual feels great, clutch pedal's perfect. It honestly is just a track toy. It feels so at home when you're taking it through twisty turns and driving it rather hard. The suspension is pretty stiff in the full-on R mode to where when you're on a fun back road, I mean, it is super confident. The limited slip keeps the traction good. Torque steer's not really all that bad. It is just a joy to rip through the turns. It's so cool how good this car truly handles. It is seriously one of the most fun cars I have owned. Yeah, if you are looking for performance first, the Type-R does that. Performance is the first thing that this car is all about. And while it is kind of expensive when you think of how kind of simple this car is, it doesn't really have many frills at all. When you start driving it hard in the turns, you can totally tell the heritage and DNA of a Type-R car. There's pedigree in this car, racing pedigree. There's also plenty of power, plenty of braking power as well. Seriously, this car is so at home when you are taking it through turns. it is an absolute blast. It really just feels so at home when you're doing the fun driving. And I think it still tones down enough. Now, the suspension is still a little on the firmer side, but honestly, in the comfort mode, I mean, I've done 300-mile trips in this in a day, and I find this to be exceptionally comfortable. Moving on now to the Hyundai Elantra N. So with the dual clutch, of course, you have the ability to just kind of drive this like a typical car in traffic and things like that. That's a nice feature to have, honestly. I've driven the manuals, fun manual, no real complaints with it at all. So with that said, you have your two configurable N buttons. I can put into the first one, which is everything in the full-on race mode, put us into manual, and shift with the paddle shifters. So numbers, they're really not that far off in terms of horsepower, torque, 0 to 60s, and even lap times. So with that, just kind of warming things up a little bit, already I will say this doesn't quite feel the same level that the Type-R is. That is a super just track-focused car. This already, though, it is still fun hitting these turns. I can tell it's got sharper brakes, quick transmission. Ooh, that was a pop. That sounded cool with the stock exhaust. Pedal to the floor, noticeably not as much power. I mean, the extra power does make a difference, especially from a roll. You know, while 0 to 60s might be similar, from a roll is where you're going to use the acceleration 90% of the time. So there's definitely some extra enhancements that the Type-R has over this car. Is it worth $10,000? I guess we will see. But even quickly going around those turns, this thing seems to handle pretty good. It's very nimble, going back out of everything. You know, the car softens up a little bit. You don't really feel much torque steer, but not bad. I mean, well balanced. It handles pretty flat. Yeah, the limited slip does a great job managing the torque and power up front. Yeah, there's that top end that this just doesn't have compared to the Type-R. So there is a nice difference in that top end power. This, I'm hitting red line shifting. The Civic didn't really even see the need to go that high in the revs. The seats in this are great though. They do hug you very well for the bolsters and everything, so it seems to kind of keep you planted in the car. The transmission definitely is really snappy though. I love the dual clutch. That's awesome that they have that available. So overall driving, no real complaints. I mean, this is a fun car to rip through the turns with. This is priced pretty much with the Honda Civic Si. Now, personally, I would go for this over the Si by far. The Si, to me, doesn't really feel all that sporty. I feel like they kind of missed the ball with the Si. The Type-R seems like where Honda put all of their fun and performance into. The Si kind of lacks. This car picks up where the Si doesn't really offer much and gives you that level of power, but more, significantly better interior, and it kind of does really give you a baby Type-R in terms of performance. The Si is just a bit quicker Civic. It doesn't really seem all that special. This car seems pretty special with what Hyundai has done to it, just the interior feel with the steering wheel and the seats and the door inserts basically. That just kind of gives you that cool extra touch. And when you're driving this, again, the numbers are close to a Type-R. It's not that far off. And the fact that we have adaptive suspension steering, all these drive modes that actually do something, it goes a long way. I mean, it is a really well-rounded car. This car is probably the person who, this is gonna be your only car and has the daily driver creature comforts and kind of the nicer feel to it, and you're lacking a little bit of that extra edge of performance. The Type-R definitely does take it up a notch in performance, and you can tell the Type-R is performance first. It gives you enough amenities to feel like a new car. This definitely feels kind of newer, nicer on the interior, but it takes away kind of that on-edge performance feeling. Not to say this is lacking in any ways, it's also $10,000 cheaper. So needless to say, $10,000 is a lot of money to where this makes sense for where it stacks up performance-wise, but also is above and beyond in terms of kind of the tech features and the overall fit and finish inside and out. It's a really cool car for the money. It offers a lot for close to $30,000. It significantly undercuts the Type-R, and it kind of makes sense where it is performance-wise versus that. But I can't say that there isn't a big noticeable difference. You know, this is fun to drive, but the Type-R certainly cranks it up a notch. again, this is fun. Not gonna hate on this at all. It's a great, well-rounded vehicle, but I do like the extra edge of performance in the Type-R. All right, so after a fun, spirited drive in the 2025 Elantra N alongside the FL5 Civic Type-R, ending thoughts, the Type-R definitely is a step up. Now, while it's all out numbers like 0 to 60 times, some lap times aren't all that much more amazing than the Elantra N, the feeling it gives you is definitely a step up. And that is something you can't put on paper. It is just a more visceral, engaging to drive car. It really feels like a track car that's road legal. It's impressive what Honda did with this car. With that said, the Elantra is an insane value. You get so much car for the money. You're almost getting this performance for over $10,000 less. That is a lot of car for the money. Again, this for the mid-30s is way better in my opinion than a WRX or a Civic Si or other cars that are in that category. You get so much for the money. I think the buyers of these two cars are very different. I don't think Civic Type-R buyers are that concerned with what it costs. I don't think they're that price sensitive. I think the Elantra N buyers are much more looking at what am I getting for the dollar I'm spending. So they're gonna save the money to get something that is almost as good, but also has some nicer aspects to it. You got the heated seats, a sunroof, you have nice materials on the seats, both front and back. But on the flip side, the Civic does have a ton more interior space, which for me, you know, the practicality, I've been able to do house projects with this car due to its massive trunk area. So I think they're different buyers. If you are looking at a car like this and the dollars are kind of stretching out where you don't want to spend nearly 50 grand on a Civic, I admit that's a ton of money for a Honda Civic. I never thought I would drop that kind of money on a Civic. The Civic kind of has always been the stereotypical base model bare bones car. If you're not looking to spend that money on a Civic, the Elantra N just offers so much for the money. You're getting a very well-rounded car, plenty of money left over to do a couple modifications to sharpen it up, to make it faster. Stock for stock, there is a nice noticeable difference in power. The top end totally does pull the car even harder. So again, they're not necessarily gonna be cars people will price shop and cross shop. I think it's just, if you're looking for pure performance and practicality and you don't really care about spending almost 50 grand, get the Type-R. It is definitely, in my opinion, more fun to drive. If you're wanting something that is more affordable, not really gonna break the bank and have so much for the money, the Elantra N is a better value, I think. But there you guys go, comparing the Elantra N versus the Civic Type-R. Are you gonna spend $10,000 more and get the slightly stripped out Civic Type-R that has more performance? Or are you gonna go for a bit better value with the Elantra N? Comment below. I'll see you guys in the next video.